If you're running a business and you work from home, you can claim tax relief on some of the expenses. That's whether you spend all your time working at home or just part of the time, perhaps doing the admin, raising the invoices. What can you claim tax relief on? Well, the general rule is that any expense you claim tax relief on must be incurred wholly and exclusively for the purposes of the business. That's HMRC's phrase. So if part of it's for private use, you can't have tax relief. But in reality, you can actually apportion some. So example would be your phone line. You're using the phone to make business and personal calls, you can have some of it. Well, basically anything that ultimately you're using for part of the business. So to give some examples, phone and broadband. Your home phone and your home broadband, you can apportion part of it as business use. The heat, light and water, you need to have the lights on, you need to have the heating on if you work from home. Part of the rent if you're in a rental property. If you own the property, part of the mortgage interest. Council tax. Insurance, but only if the insurance actually does relate to the business, not just your standard home insurance. Repairs, maintenance and decoration for the bit of the house that you're using to actually run the business from. So if you're using a bedroom as a study or as an office, any repairs, maintenance, decoration to that room. Home improvements, though, can't be claimed unless they are specifically, again, for that area you're using. If you just put an extension on or painting the whole building, you can't claim. For some of the costs, it's quite clear and easy. So your phone bill will detail who the calls were to. If you've had to take out extra insurance because you're running the business, it will be the extra bit. But for some of the other costs that cover the whole house, like the heat, the lighting, you actually put a portion of it through your tax return. Now, how do you actually apportion that? We've got a few options, one of which is actually to look at the square meterage of the room that you use, divide that by how much in the whole house and put that fraction through. You can also just count the rooms, which can be a little bit easier. The one problem with that, though, is there is a slight can of worms, because if you own the house and if you effectively said one room of the house is a business asset, you're actually liable to tax on any profit you make when you sell the house. So do be careful. Sometimes it can be simpler to use some flat rates. HMRC apply these flat rates for people who do work from home. So you don't actually have to add up the cost yourself. They've just basically taken an average, what they think is reasonable. These rates depend on the hours you spend working from home each month. So for example, you can claim £26 per month if you work more than 100 hours at home. So those are the costs you can claim tax relief on if you work from home. Hope you found that useful.